We now move on to the next and the last segment of our program, which is a panel discussion on the impetus and goals for listing. A large number of companies need the necessary reasons and justification to make the impetus to go for listing. They need to be made aware of the benefits and objectives of listing apart from the obvious benefit of raising capital. To talk on this subject, we have a panel of distinguished speakers with whom I would like to introduce. We have with us, and I would request them to please come to the stage. We have with us Mr. Sohail Beg, who is the CEO of Emaar Pakistan, a subsidiary of Emaar Properties. The UAE-based property developer Emaar Pakistan is fast becoming one of the leading property developers in the country. Next, we have Mr. Ali Masood, CEO of CCL Pharmaceuticals. Established more than 50 years ago, CCL Pharma is a leading pharmaceutical company having world-class manufacturing facilities with a strong R&D capacity. Also present as panelist is Mr. Zarak Khan Khattak, who is the CEO of FF Steel. Frontier Foundry Steel is a fully integrated steel manufacturing company which is one of the fastest growing and largest steel manufacturers of Pakistan. It was founded in 1986 and it has excelled in the manufacturing of steel products, complying with international standards. Zara Khan has joined us online. Mr. Kamran Mia, MD Fast Cables, is another one of our eminent panelists. Since its inception in 1985, Fast Cables has emerged as Pakistan's leading cables manufacturer. Apart from manufacturing electrical cables, the company also manufactures conductors, among other products. We also have with us as our esteemed panelist, Mr. Mohammad Amin Godil, who is the chairman of international packaging firm Films Limited. International Packaging Limited is a greenfield project which started operations in 2017 in Lahore. The company is in the business of manufacturing BOPP films of various grades and thickness, having a capacity of producing 40,000 tons of film per annum. The interesting thing about all these panelists is that they are about to or already mandated to become listed companies. We will talk to them about their aspirations and their concerns, challenges, and the thoughts that have been at the decision-making time of how they decided to list their companies. So I'll begin with Sohail from Emaar Pakistan. As the CEO of Emaar Pakistan, what are the factors that have made you and your board decide to list on the stock exchange in the near future?
Thank you, Raida, and thank you, PSX, for arranging this initiative. It's fantastic that as a country we are talking about the right things, which are critical at this point in time for our economy. To emerge, we need to find ways how to access capital market and ensure that people start talking about the right things. I think as a company, if I look at our business model, we are one of the largest developer outside China in terms of residential, commercial, hospitality and entertainment space. It's at the heart of our business model to ensure that whatever we do, wherever we create value, we share it with wider stakeholders. Starting from our customers who buy property from us, we create value for them. Likewise, if you look at our businesses in Dubai, Egypt, India, we strongly believe in listing, and it's one of the agenda for Emaar to list in all the markets where we operate. So that's the corporate strategy for Emaar. But if I look at from Pakistan perspective, I think it's really good to be after Madam Nausheen. She talked about trust. I'm a strong believer in trust. I think this the entire governance and compliance that enables you to establish trust with all the stakeholders, and there is no comparison. It allows you to unlock value for the wider shareholders in the long run. So I think that's at the center of our objective, to ensure that we establish ourselves as the first player, first international developer to list on the exchange which will unlock opportunities for others and also help us build relationship with all the partners in the value chain, which at the moment is missing. If you read between the lines what Mr. Ijaz said regarding industry, despite one of the I think backbone of the economy, but if you look at the undocumented space, it's still at a nascent stage. So there's a lot which needs to be done, and that's why we are looking forward to listing to ensure that we help document the sector, not only our company.
Thank you, Sohail. I'll now move to Ali Sood. What kind of challenges did you face or your company face in the current economic environment, and how do you look at listing as a means of addressing those challenges and improving your stance in the
Okay, thank you very much, Raida, and Pakistan Stock Exchange and everybody for organizing this wonderful event. So, very question, but before we want to discuss the challenges what we are facing, it's important to introduce CCL, so it will be more relevant. So basically, CCL Pharmaceuticals is a Pakistani-based global healthcare organization. We are into the business of pharmaceuticals and consumer health. Currently, we are operating in the 24 countries of the emerging markets. And in the past 10 years, we have done almost 4 acquisitions. One in Vietnam, one in Italy. So we are expanding our footprint to Europe as well. One in UAE 2 years ago, and expanding with our Middle East and Africa vision. And recently, we have done one more acquisition in Pakistan, acquiring the PICS approved facility. And PICS is one of the strictest one in the world after FDA and EU GMP, which will give us the access to export into the 37 countries from Pakistan itself. So our business is very much diversified, and we are establishing ourselves as the Pakistani multinational pharmaceutical company. Now, you can imagine once you are growing so fast, and in the mode of expansion, bringing more quality medicines to the patients, and want to acquire more big pharma companies, we need funds. So that's actually our aim, and the challenge is very high interest rates, borrowing from the banks, and I think IPO will give access in the future because it is the currency of the future. So that's the purpose behind it.
So it's expansion, I would say. Yeah. Now I'll move to Zarak with a similar question that why did FF Steel consider listing, and how do you see yourself contributing to attracting investors and fostering growth in the coming years?
Assalamu alaikum ji. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Assalamu alaikum ji. I'm sorry I'm joining over Zoom. Fog ki wajah se travel was slightly difficult. I'm Zarak Khan Khattak. I'm the Chief Executive of Frontier Foundry Steel, or FF Steel Limited. We're into local steel bar production, and we're also into the copper export business. So those are our two primary wings. We are a 37-year-old company, and we are soon to be listed, inshallah, within this calendar year. जो आपका सवाल था कि लिस्टिंग की क्या 3 रीजंस हो सकती हैं, तो टेक्स्ट बुक तो उसका यही है कि 3 रीजंस तो एक लिक्विडिटी फॉर वर्किंग कैपिटल, liquidity for new projects, and in these cases you have to rely on the company's projections to make a decision whether to invest in the company or not. The third type is a hybrid or OFS model, in which you rely on the company's past performance, whether invest in the company or not as a shareholder. But for us, I've been a sportsman. I've done swimming in Pakistan level, and I've province ko represent kar chuka hu, NWFP ko. So for us, for me and my team, listing more entails to performing on the grandest stage of them all. We are at the moment the largest selling brand of steel bars in Pakistan. Amongst our peers, we are the top most companies in terms of bottom line. But वो हमारे कैपिटल मार्केट से कोई लोग आए थे पेशावर, तो उन्होंने कहा कि जी जंगल में मोर नाचा किसी ने देखा नहीं, you must come on the stock exchange so that people are able to appreciate your performance and appreciate the management systems you have. So for me, it's more of performing, it's that competitive spirit to perform on the grandest stage of them all. And for me, on a very personal level as well, that आपने कहा कि जी how would I sector को foster कैसे करेंगे growth? So it's more a territorial thing for me. The last company to be listed from KPK, or previously known as NWFP, was 32 years ago. So after 32 years, a company from KP being listed would be a feather in our hat, and I hope it will act as a motivation and incentive for other companies in KP to list as well. And in terms of sectorial influence, if the top one of the company with the largest selling brand and the best bottom line is not listed on the stock exchange, so that then the stock exchange sectorially is not depicting the sector very well. So we would be honored to come on the Pakistan Stock Exchange, and I think the stock exchange would also like to have us as well.
Excellent, well said. Yes, definitely, we're here to welcome you all. Now I'll move to Kamal Mia from Fast Cables. So the similar question, what factors have contributed or driven Fast Cables to consider listing, and how do you plan to stay ahead in technological advancement post-listing?
Thank you very much. Really appreciate PSX for arranging this event. As far as the listing is concerned, I just look at the title for empowering the future for the capital markets. So our vision is also empowering the communities we serve in. So we see going to the market is just sharing our success with the broader community and corporate institutionalizing this institution for 37 years for the generations to come. So when we look at FAST, our objective has always been that at least in the cables, there is no technology, there is no intellectual property which prohibits a Pakistani company not to compete with a European or Japanese or American brand, because it's made as per a standard, and whoever complies with the standard would have the same product. So our success story has been to provide the best product in the Pakistan, so there is no dependency when it comes to कि Europe से आई है तो इसलिए अच्छी है. So we believe that to make it beyond our generation and to make it really empowering the community's vision, we need to be part of the capital markets and make it also not only sector-wise give an opening and help developing that sector, because in our sector there's only one company in the market, but also how we develop the capital market. We have been listening since morning, and the biggest challenge is we don't have issuers. And it's a kind of chicken egg situation that we as issuers can benefit more when the market is deep, and the market will only be deep when we'll have more issuers. So we believe it's a very important contribution to make to develop the market, and through that we in future will also benefit in a big way. When it comes to your second part of your question, we are a market leader, alhamdulillah. We have been investing a lot in technology. That's why we have been the market leader. So the purpose of, again, coming to capital market is, again, to keep that edge and never let Pakistan as a brand Pakistan feel that in cables we are behind someone else. So that's our vision, is that's how we'll keep on innovating and keep on making sure that we serve our nation and build a strong Pakistan. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Kamal. I think that's a very patriotic vision as well. Now I'll move to Amin Godel. How does your company plan to utilize the capital raised? And along with it, whilst considering listing, did you look at other players in your particular sector or industry that are listed?
Look,
Okay, thank you, Raida, and thank you, Farooq Khan, for organizing this seminar and inviting us. Let me briefly tell you about the company first, and then I'll move to your question. We are in the film manufacturing, packaging film manufacturing. We were established 5 years ago and started our operation in 2017. And we are today a rupees 20 billion company. Our aim is to be the biggest and the best packaging film company in the Pakistan. And it's very, very logical for us that we need to be listed at this point in time on the Karachi Stock Exchange. And I would add one thing. I was hearing Noshin and sitting with Farooq Khan. We give a lot of importance to the corporate governance, and we are very strong in the corporate governance at this point in time. I think after listing, it will be energized further, and it will solidify our position in the sense that all our stakeholders will have more confidence, more trust. And I tell you, you'll be surprised that corporate governance is one of our growth pillars. Because if we want to be the best and the largest for a sustainable business, we need to have a very strong corporate governance. I cannot understand that if you don't have a vision or if you don't have a clarity of purpose, then how can you rally the whole organization to one purpose? And you cannot grow. From the sustainability point of view, the risk management, have the well-qualified board, the board committees and structures, and all these are the key elements for a success of a large company and for a sustainable growth.
Great, great. Thank you. Sohail, I'll come back to you. From the perspective of Emaar Pakistan, when you're going public, what kind of challenges and opportunities, I would say, can Emaar Pakistan face and when it goes public?
No, I think in terms of challenges, as I said, we'll be the first international developer going public in Pakistan. So there is a lot which needs to be done in terms of investor educations for them to understand about our business model. Because it's a very different model. There is a very different set of accounting which you follow. So it's not like a typical business where you have a quarter after quarter result. So that's the biggest task which we need to do. But from the opportunity side, I think if you look at the pace of development at our company in Pakistan, we are working on 5.5 million square feet of development in the last couple of years. So that's probably the record development pace which we have seen. But we still feel we can further accelerate it. So with this, access to liquidity, that will allow us to accelerate our growth agenda in Pakistan. And that's at the center of it because we want to do things, but we want to do things faster. I think that's how we have managed to create successful business in Dubai and in Egypt. And I think speed is the currency, and that's what drives us to access the market at this point in time.
Thank you. Similar question to Ali Masood. What's your view regarding your company going for listing, challenges, and have you looked at how other companies within your sector have, which are listed, have actually progressed over the years?
Yeah, so I think pharmaceutical is a very attractive segment, I would say. If you see the different sectors of the Pakistan stock markets and in the industry as well, this is one of the sectors which for the past 50 years we are seeing showing a double-digit growth, no matter we are in the wars or the COVID, has come. So this is a very lucrative sector. And also if you see the currently listed companies in the pharmaceutical segments, all are profitable, all are, doing very well. So I think in terms of, there are some regulatory challenges in terms of pricing which we are facing. Yeah. There is a policy in place and the government will implement that. So the short-term challenges as an industry will come over. Now coming towards the opportunity which we are seeing, again as I told earlier, we are one of the fastest growing companies in the last decade of the pharmaceutical segment. And as I said, we have done acquisitions. So we have heavy plans to grow organically by investing in our plants, in our people. Whereas we are also looking for inorganic growth to acquire some of the big entities in Pakistan because the MNCs are leaving. So for that purposes, there is an opportunity if we do the listing at the right time, seeing that good timing we hope that the country will emerge from here for the better. And if we get the good value out of it, so we will invest again for future growth.
Inshallah. Zarak, I'll come back to you as a CEO. Can going public for FF Steel, how does it help your decision making and corporate governance processes? And how do you balance your short-term financial gains with the long-term sustainability goals?
So we are a 38-year-old company, so we have had a generational transition. My father started the company and I'm running the company now. He being an only son, I also being an only son, so we have, at the moment, there is only one sponsor. Raida, can you hear me?
Yes, very clearly, yes.
Oh, okay. So I being the only sponsor involved in the executive decision making of the company, so I have to rely on a lot on my senior management team. And my senior management team is one of the best in Pakistan. So we have in place a lot of SOPs and systems and then we have backed these systems through digitally through SAP and different Android programs. So we are we are already an unlisted public company. So we are very much in alignment to what listed companies are already doing. We have an 8-member board, mostly independent because, again, we don't have many family members, so most of the board members are also independent, the likes of Mr. Adil Khattak from Chief Executive Attic Refinery or Dr. Afraz Sajjad, Global Head ACCA, are a part of our board. The process of listing is further going to help us because now I, as the Chief Executive of the company, am defining my job description and my authorities, where the board's authority comes and where my authority finishes. So that will mean this job description and these authorities will in future help me when we are bringing a person from the team as the chief executive, because for the company to have long-term sustainability, the sponsors have to step to a side and the chief executive has to be run by someone from within the team. So that is one place which we are developing. Apart from that, we were already more or less working like a listed company.
It's really encouraging to hear that, and that's a very bold step, I would say, how you're considering it for the longer term. Now I'll come to Kamal Mia. Do you see other players, other industry players from your similar sector turning out with a favorable view to list their companies as they see your company get listed and the economy gradually improves?
Frankly, I think everyone have their own reasons, but I personally would really want. I worked before joining FAST for about 15 years as an investment banker in the Middle East, and I saw Tadawul developing in front of our eyes. We are the oldest stock exchange, and they are the youngest maybe in this region. And they have grown, and the one reason was the very proactive approach of government of making sure that every company which is getting any government concession, may it be fuels, feedstock and so forth, were asked to list as well. So I think to increase the market size, we need a proactive role from the government as well, especially the companies who are getting kind of monopolized rate or kind of fixed rate when it comes to many of government, either on the buying side of the equation or on the feedstock side of the equation, because that's where the national wealth is, which has to be shared. When it comes to private, I will, being a corporate kind of professional, I would not, I would say that any good professionally run company would do that. How and when they will do it, everyone have their own reasons. And unfortunately, overall market environment in Pakistan, and we discussed since morning many of the factors there, do not kind of support and provide that kind of, I would say, cultural एक कह लें कि fit नहीं बनता हमारे बहुत सारे businesses के लिए. लेकिन that is something which I see changing very fast. कि जितनी ज़्यादा फास्ट डिजिटाइजेशन हो रही है, जितनी ज़्यादा फास्ट जो है ना हम डॉक्यूमेंटेशन कर रहे हैं इकोनॉमी को, एंड आई बिलीव कि अगले 10 साल में जो स्टोरी होगी कैपिटल मार्केट्स विल बी फार डिफरेंट दैन द कैपिटल मार्केट स्टोरी ऑफ लास्ट 10 years.
Great, inshallah, we all hope so. Now, Amin Godel, can you, your company being a B2B company, not a totally consumer-driven company, but how do you look at listing helping you build that robust local global supply chain and improve your perception?
You see, I mean, once we are listed, I think we'll have a more visibility. I think we'll have a visibility which we deserve. We have done extremely well, and as I said, that we have a very strong focus on the corporate governance. Okay. Once we are listed, our stakeholders' confidence in us will enhance. It will open up new opportunities for us for the joint ventures, for technical collaboration, and everything in terms of the good business. So I think it will be very, very helpful. We will get the visibility, which we, as I said, we deserve more visibility than what we have because we are a very new company, only 5 years old company, but we have done extremely well. And you will be surprised to know that by the end of the 2024, we will have the largest capacity in Pakistan for the packaging films. We will be the only packaging film manufacturers who will have all the 3 types of films available. And we are the fastest growing. And as I said, that we have 20 billion rupees revenue now. By 2026, we expect that we'll cross the 50 billion marks. We are already market leader in the 5th year in one of the categories, which is the BOPP film. So we need more visibility, and listing will help us to get that visibility. Listing will help us to get the more confidence of our stakeholders, and it will be good for the business. And there are, everybody knows, obvious financial advantages. As we grow bigger, we will need more funding, so we will have access to the capital. We will share the bounty with the larger population. There will be larger participation from the general public in the company. And once we are listed, all the 3 top film manufacturers will be the listed companies. Per capita consumption of flexible film is extremely low in the Pakistan. This category is going to grow, there's no doubt about it. And we all 3 being on the capital market, it will be extremely helpful to grow the packaging industry in Pakistan.
Great, thank you. I think I will have one last question for all of you, the same question. What kind of message would you give, beginning with Sohail, for other companies and businesses who are at the verge of considering whether to go into a public listed structure, and why should they consider that?
Well, I think while listening to all these speakers, it seems like a very nice pill to have, but everybody is trying to resist. So I think as a company, we had a great experience in different markets, so we have a lot more appetite to take a step forward. But based on my experience, what I've seen, compliance, governance, trust, all that, allows to have a better confidence and image in the market with your customers. And in turn, it's not only the governance or liquidity aspect, it allows you to do a better business because you build trust with all the stakeholders in the value chain. To me, I think that's the most important element, which is missing at least in our industry in Pakistan. So that's what I look forward to. And I encourage others, to look at from a purely operational benefits lens. Once you are trusted across the value chain, and that has phenomenal benefits to unlock. So that's our way of looking at it.
Thank you, Sohail.
So I think I agree with Sohail, and throughout the day we have listened to everybody that there are many advantages. I think as a country, if you see, there are sectors which are evolving. Few sectors have evolved in the past, like banks and other industries, but in the consumer space, in the pharmaceutical sector and many others, they need to evolve, and the mindset needs to be changed from the family-owned business to the professionally run listed organization. So the concept or the idea of listing, I think it's not very well sold amongst the larger industrial owners or the small or to medium enterprises. There are many benefits, as we all discussed throughout the day, so we can generate funds for further growth and expansion. It gives you a long life or perpetuity. The brand image, we can have better corporate governance around it. So there are many benefits, but I think the fundamental issue is to let go the power. This needs to be discussed maybe at a larger scale. And so the root cause जो है वो जो हमारा जो family owners का जो mindset है उन्हें पढ़ाने की सिखाने की ज़रूरत है. इस कमरे में नहीं होगा. I think उसके लिए और बड़ा forum चाहिए. So that's my view.
Just to kind of bring another angle in it, I will share an example. I mentioned I used to work as an investment banker. So when I joined HSBC, I got stock options. And I was like, okay, so now I own the bank I work for. So they were linked to the performance. So the more the bank money makes, the more I get. Then I moved to ABN AMRO, same thing happened there. So when I came back to Pakistan, we introduced the same thing in fast cables. And a lot of businessmen whom I told that we are doing this, मियाँ साहब ऐसे ही नहीं होता, अपने employees के साथ तो नहीं ये किया जाता, उनको तो shareholder नहीं बनाते. So that's the mindset we have to deal with, as you mentioned. Now, the best way to do that is to set the example. Because you can preach, but preaching is not what will work. What work is that you set an example. So for me, example was always the names I mentioned. And I believe in Pakistan, we already have many examples. And with the more examples we will have, we will convince more people that this is the right way to go to.
Great, thank you. I'll move to Zarak. Zarak, what's your message to the perspective?
As we move from south to north, the access to capital market decreases the more you come towards north, and that is something which PSX and SCCP and the smaller branches also need to look at. But what happens is that their informal investment plans get more gravity, and people, instead of going to the stock exchange, they do private partnerships, through private limited companies or through partnership deeds. So what the stock exchange brings is two things. One, it brings security to the investor. Second, it brings security to the company. It is an investment in a transparent manner in which the rules and regulations of the investments are predefined by a law and a regulation. So it is a shield for the investor and the company at the same time, and we need to educate all our people, both the investors and the companies, that instead of going for these informal investment plans or even the formal private investment plans, you can do it more transparently in the stock exchange, and your price discovery can be done in a manner which is more precise, more reasonable for both the investor and the company. So that is the main thing that I see in listing, and we need to motivate, incentivize people to list more and more. Apart from these, the long-term sustainability, once you're listed, is far more than once you're not listed. And that is one thing we need to understand, even in when the transition from one generation to the other happens. So you have your own shareholding, and the shareholding is differentiated from the management. That's the beauty of the whole thing. You can be a shareholder while you're not a part of the management. And that is what listing brings to the table. So these are one or two of the key things which I think are more important and which need the family-based business need to be made aware of, and the investors need to be made aware of for the listing process to increase in Pakistan.
I think that's a very valid concern and message also, because a lot of times your second generation, and as you move to the third generation, they may not be interested in that same business. They may want to pursue their own profession, whether it's becoming a lawyer or an architect or maybe an artist for that matter. So they still have the option to be part of the organization, the legacy, whilst not being part of the management in a day-to-day setup. So excellent. I'll come to Amin Saab to hear your views.
My message to the reluctant companies is that consider corporate governance positively. It makes a good business sense. It's worth investing in it. And I think the first step is that separate the ownership and the management. This is the first step in the corporate governance. As soon as you do that successfully, everything will start falling in line, and the new avenues will open up. And if you really want to grow the pie, then you have to separate the ownership and the management.
Great, thank you very much. I would like to especially thank all of you, all our panelists. Zarak, you've been online since morning. Many of you have been here since morning. Kamal Saab, yourself. Some joined a bit later, and I hope this has been valuable for all of you, for our prospective issuers, that they have heard from the business leaders, they've heard from the advisors, they heard from the market experts, from the SECP, the regulators, from their perspective. So we've tried to give you a well-rounded view of listing, of issuing, becoming a listed entity, the benefits associated. If there are any questions, we are open. Our consultants have their offices, have their setups here, have their contacts. Pakistan Stock Exchange team is also here. We've published and printed a beautiful listing guide, which we've tried to keep as detailed as possible. And through these sessions, we will also, inshallah, post these sessions shortly on the digital channels of the stock exchange to be like a treasure to dip into wherever and whenever you want. So I'd like to thank all of you for taking out time and being here with us. And we'll conclude today's session. Thank you all for your patience and staying with us.